Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. In a couple of seconds, you will hear testimony from Michael Cohen in Congress. So this will be for educational purposes. You will hear his congressional testimony contradicting what has been reported today. Apparently, there is no audio or recording, according to the witness, Michael Cohen, in 2018. He told Congress, he told Congressman Greg Steube, you will hear that in a second. So is he lying now or was he lying then? We don't know. He's committed perjury reportedly numerous times. This is catapulting Trump to the White House. He'll win in 24, very likely in a landslide. Hit subscribe to this channel. You can see behind me ABC News, Yahoo, Fox News, all of these publications talking about how Michael Cohen secretly has audio of Trump. This is complete and utter nonsense. You know that because you're going to hear testimony from Cohen stating the absolute opposite. Paul Bartlett in Australia, to my viewers in Australia, UK, Canada, Nigeria, everywhere around the world, Philippines, Korea, thank you so very much for watching. God bless you all. Thank you, Paul. My goodness, thank you so very, very much. As always, I cannot thank you enough. To the members on this channel, thank you. Frank, everybody here, Gloria, thank you so very, very much. Let's get started. I'm not going to interrupt. This is testimony from Michael Cohen that contradicts exactly what's been reported today. This is for educational purposes. You're going to hear congressional testimony. This is part of the congressional record, okay? In 2018, just 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, about 5 to 6 years ago, he stated there was no audio, no recording, no nothing. Listen to this interaction right now. Hit subscribe. The defense lawyers should have, look, this is a small and growing channel, relatively, small to decent size. We'll get to 300,000 subs, hopefully very soon. But the defense should definitely play this, or at least, hopefully, they asked him about this. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they'll have a chance. But this is very, very, extremely important. He admits that there was no evidence Trump told him anything, and even if Trump said, pay Stormy, it still wouldn't be a campaign finance violation because it was a personal expenditure meant to protect his family from knowing about a potential affair. That alone is why the FEC did not find Trump. The FEC fined Clinton and the DNC. Why on earth is Trump on trial? They fined Clinton and the DNC for purchasing the Steele dossier with campaign money. They did not fine Trump. Again, the FEC, the federal government, did not fine Trump for campaign donations or campaign expenditures. So why is he on trial? Hit subscribe. Listen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I ran for Congress, I talked about how Washington was broken. But I certainly did not expect the level of political gamemanship, partisanship, and sheer stagnation of policies that would improve the lives of Americans that I'm witnessing today. It is terribly disappointing to me that this committee and its chairman chose to spend our time in questioning an individual that has zero probative value and zero credibility, instead of spending our limited time focusing on improving the lives of Americans, creating jobs, or streamlining the functioning of our federal government. Yet here we are, taking testimony from a convicted liar, and not someone who has just lied to his clients or family or friends, but testimony from an individual who deliberately and premeditatedly lied to this body. He lied to Congress through false statements and written statements. He lied to Congress through his testimony. He then amplified his false statements by releasing and repeating his lies to the public, including the other potential witnesses. Yet now, we on this committee and the American people are expected to believe Mr. Cohen's testimony. I don't know a juror in America that would believe anything Mr. Cohen says given his past actions and lies. Mr. Cohen, you stood before multiple congressional committees before today and raised your right hand and swore an oath to be honest. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you lied to those congressional committees. Is that correct?
Previously?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
You stated that Trump never directed you to lie to Congress. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Therefore, you lied to Congress on your own accord and then admitted to lying to Congress. Correct?
I've already stated my piece on that. I knew what he wanted me to do. I was staying on party line.
but he never directed you to lie to Congress.
He did not use those words, no.
In your evidence that you provided this committee a mere 2 hours before the hearing started, were payments made to you by Mr. Trump, correct?
Amongst other things, yes.
Yet other than your testimony here today, there is absolutely no proof that those specific payments were for those specific purposes.
This is the key issue that completely sinks and tanks his credibility and testimony. He doesn't have any evidence Trump told him to pay Stormy. Yet he's being indicted under 11 counts, or the indictment is divided into 11 parts, 11 payments or so, 10 or 11 payments, which, by the way, are misdemeanors. They are not felonies. The Democrats in Tammany Hall is desperately trying to go after Trump and make it into a felony because the misdemeanors were allegedly payments that Trump directed Cohen, which, by the way, he didn't direct Cohen. You'll find that out. Or he didn't. Cohen states that he did things on his own without Trump's knowledge. But even if Trump had, it still wouldn't amount to a campaign finance violation. The FEC fined Clinton and the DNC, not Trump. But the point is, he doesn't have any recording. He says so right here. So what on earth is the court hearing? What did the court hear today if he just said 5 years ago that nothing exists?
Is that correct?
It's my testimony that the check that I produced as part of this testimony, the $35,000, and then the second check that's signed by Alan Weisselberg and Don Trump Jr., were two checks out of the 11 that were meant for the reimbursement of the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels.
So in your testimony on page 13, you claim, and I quote, Mr. Trump directed me to use my own personal funds from a home equity line of credit to avoid any money being tracked back to him that could negatively impact his campaign. Do you have any proof of this direction?
Just the payment, sir.
So no email?
Mr. Trump doesn't have email.
So no recording?
I do not have recordings, no.
No text message?
Mr. Trump doesn't text message.
So no direction?
He says no recording. It's in congressional testimony. It's right here. I mean, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes or, Columbo. I got a quick question to ask you. You don't have to be like, Perry Mason to understand what's going on. He already says it. Here, you can listen to it again.
The narrative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Cohen, good luck on your road to redemption.
Certainly did not expect the level of political
That were meant for the reimbursement of the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels.
So in your testimony on page 13, you claim, and I quote, Mr. Trump directed me to use my own personal funds from a home equity line of credit to avoid any money being tracked back to him that could negatively impact his campaign. Do you have any proof of this direction?
Just the payment, sir.
So no email?
Mr. Trump doesn't have email.
So no recording?
I do not have recordings, no.
No text message?
He just stated he doesn't have a recording. So why on earth are media outlets and publications reporting that in court today he said, and then the court heard audio of them talking? He doesn't have any. So how was this fabricated? Was it artificial intelligence? How did he suddenly find evidence of a discussion? And how did he suddenly find audio of a discussion if he stated under oath? Well, he's a liar, so But how did he find evidence in the last 5 years? Is my question. He already stated in Congress he did not have any proof that Trump directed him to make those payments, other than the payments themselves, which could have been for anything under the sun. And so this is the key witness that is supposed to imprison Trump. Dream on. Anyone who thinks that Trump's going to be in prison, let's say they convict him, it will be a pure show trial, a complete travesty of justice, and an obvious attempt at going after their direct political rivals. His poll numbers will literally go up He gets convicted, his poll numbers will go up, he'll win in a landslide. Nobody trusts the Democratic Party, especially this overt attempt at just trying to just jail Trump for nothing, while Democrats get away with bribery, very likely bribery, graft, servers, I mean, things that you could never get away with if you were Trump or the average Republican. But it's right here. He has no evidence, no proof that Trump told him to do anything.
Message.
Mr. Trump doesn't text message.
So no direction other than your testimony today that that's what the payment was for.
And the fact that I paid on his behalf, at his direction, the money to Keith Davidson's IOLA account. You're right, there's no other documentation I have.
So nothing that you produce as part of your exhibits prove that President Trump directed you in any way to make that payment.
I don't even know how to answer that, sir.
He doesn't know how to answer it because nothing that he gave to Congress proves that those payments were made to Stormy. Furthermore, if the payments were made to Stormy for the purpose of a non-disclosure agreement, it still isn't a campaign finance violation. My God. Look, if you're so desperate to jail Trump, then maybe you should look at, I don't know, perhaps Hunter's laptop. Maybe there's possible bribery and graft there, who knows? But Democrats don't care about the rule of law. They don't go after other Democrats in the manner they go after Trump. They hide and obfuscate and do everything possible to defend their political side while pontificating about the rule of law and the Constitution and democracy. Then they get overturned by the Supreme Court in a unanimous decision that should have been embarrassing to them, a 9-0 unanimous decision against the Colorado Supreme Court. You had the Colorado Supreme Court, people who should know the law and the Constitution, saying that Trump is banned because he engaged in a rebellion. And then the Supreme Court said, nah, he didn't. And by the way, that's unconstitutional. Even the liberal justices said you can't do that. Everyone knows this is such an attempt. Meanwhile, you have obvious graft and bribery going on. People are giving money to Hunter and Joe for a reason, just like they gave money to other Democrats. And then Democrats say, you can't prove anything. Well, what can you prove with this? Where's the money trail here that leads directly to Trump? He literally took out a loan himself, and there's no evidence that Trump told him to do anything. And what he did was completely legal. Okay? There was a uranium sale not long ago that the New York Times, before they became a newsletter of the Democratic Party, even stated, yeah, money went to a specific foundation, that the Clintons run, and then the people who gave the money received beneficial treatment in terms of a uranium sale. And so things happen. Hunter's on the board of directors of a company known for shady activity in a country invaded when Biden was in office. But Democrats don't put two and two together there. Okay, and then he says you better fire a prosecutor or we'll withhold $1 billion in loan guarantees, but still nothing there. Then they impeach Trump. And then if they impeach Trump for allegedly withholding military assistance, which he eventually gave, they're not going to impeach Biden for withholding military assistance to an ally right now? Oh, that's interesting. Democrats have zero moral compass. It's just whatever gives most utility in terms of a political sense.
That were meant for the reimbursement of the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels.
So in your testimony on page 13, you claim, and I quote, Mr. Trump directed me to use my own personal funds from a home equity line of credit to avoid any money being tracked back to him that could negatively impact his campaign. Do you have any proof of this direction?
Just the payment, sir.
So no email?
Mr. Trump doesn't have email.
So no recording?
I do not have recordings, no.
No text message?
Mr. Trump doesn't text message.
So no direction other than your testimony today that that's what the payment was for?
And the fact that I paid on his behalf, at his direction, the money to Keith Davidson's IOLA account. You're right, there's no other documentation I have.
So nothing that you produce as part of your exhibits prove that President Trump directed you in any way to make that payment.
I don't even know how to answer that, sir.
Well, it's pretty simple. There's nothing in the evidence that shows, or the exhibits that you provided today, that show that Trump directed you to make those payments.
Other than the non-disclosure agreement that has been seized by government authorities and is widely shown, I don't believe there's anybody out there that believes that I just decided to pay $130,000 on his behalf.
Well, you were his attorney for over 10 years.
That doesn't mean that I pay $130,000.
Well, it doesn't also mean that he wasn't paying you for representation of counsel.
Okay.
So he has no proof, zero proof. First of all, if Trump paid the money to Stormy from his own pocketbook instead of Michael Cohen's equity line of credit, it still wouldn't be a campaign finance violation because it was a personal expenditure, in this case, to protect his family from embarrassment. That's why it's not an FEC violation. The FEC already looked at this. They already looked at this. The federal government, the DOJ, already looked at this. They found there was no violation. So even if this whole thing with, did he tell Michael Cohen? Did he not? He likely told Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen can't prove that. He has nothing to prove that. And then today you hear that apparently he has something to prove that. Well, what changed? Did he fabricate something? Well, what's this audio that was supposed to have implicated Trump? How did it turn up within the last 5 years when in 2018 it didn't exist? That's the point. Then he says, oh, well, why would I pay that money? Why would you withhold $4 million from the IRS? Why would you engage in bank fraud or illegal activity? There are lots of things that Cohen did that nobody else would do. Why would you do that? So it's really hilarious that let's put it this way, if they convict Trump, his poll numbers go up. If it's a hung jury or mistrial, his poll numbers go up. He wins the presidency either way. Democrats are in their own fantasy world. They had every single possible advantage 4 years ago. They don't have any of the advantages they had 4 years ago. So, nobody likes the economy. Foreign policy is an unmitigated disaster. Biden has no vision. Democrats they just pander to the far left within their political party. They don't even care about the issues the far left cares about. I used to be on the far left. I can tell you that they don't care. They just want votes. And even the left sees that. But the thing with the far left is they're all over the place also. They obsess over certain things and ignore other things. And it used to be Medicare for all and single payer, and it used to be Green New Deal. Now it's another thing in terms of foreign policy they're obsessing about, which that's a whole other can of worms that But Biden withholds military aid to an ally he expects not to be impeached. When Trump was impeached for allegedly withholding, and the ally got the military aid with Trump. But anyway, you can see here, ABC News video jury hears secret recording. That's not what Michael Cohen said. 2018, Politico. Cohen narrates his recorded conversation. Why didn't he narrate his recorded conversation in 2018? He's literally on. I mean, Trump's defense is, great. They're brilliant lawyers, but they should know this Congressman Greg Steube in Florida. They should know the cross-examination was brilliant. They should have this, and they should ask the witness about this. This is very important. This is extremely important. Cohen contradicts himself. It only took 5 years for him to come up with apparently some evidence, which is complete nonsense. But let's listen to one of his attorneys right now. Hit subscribe to this channel.
Joining me now, attorney for the former president, Will Scharf. Good to see you. Welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Great to be with you. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so the president, first of all, let's talk about jury selection. This is an area where Manhattan, roughly 85% of the vote last time around went for President Biden. How tough is it going to be to get a jury you think can be neutral?
Well, I think that's a really important point. At the end of the day, what we're talking about here is a show trial. It's a 6-week-long media extravaganza in the media capital of the world, where the only realistic consequence, even if President Trump were convicted, is frankly a talking point for the Biden campaign. Jury selection is going to be difficult. I have a lot of faith in our team up there that they're going to be able to get the best possible jury. But I think it's really important to note that the fact that this case is being brought at the height of election season makes the process of picking a jury even more difficult, makes the possibility of having a biased jury even more likely. And that's a real problem.
Well, the president a couple of days ago said he'd be okay taking the stand. There are those out there who say, one legal analyst said, if he was my client, I'd beg him.
There's no way on earth that Trump is going to take the stand, because he likely did have the affair with Stormy. He likely was just fine with payments made to Stormy. And guess what? These are not campaign finance issues. The FEC fined the Clinton campaign and the DNC for purchasing the Steele dossier with Bernie Sanders money. Okay? Well, you remember 2016 when they railroaded and cheated Bernie Sanders? I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. The Washington Post said I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters. I wish I wrote about Trump. Bernie Sanders, when I was writing about him, I thought that he would be like Trump. I thought that he would take a sledgehammer to all the corruption, which is what Trump did in many ways and tried to do. People are saying, well, how come how come we have all these problems in the southern geographic region of our country? Well, if we had, that wall would have helped, but Democrats didn't want that. Now you have atrocities that have taken place in that region that are far worse than anything AOC claimed to care about. And no tears shed by the far left. And so you have a situation where he didn't commit a crime even if he told Cohen, even if he paid with his own personal money, Trump. It's not even a crime. But, I don't know if the court has listened to the FEC, I don't even know if the FEC ruling is even part of the court documents. Hopefully it is. That exonerates Trump, and that, where the Clinton campaign and the DNC, they were fined for violation of campaign finance laws. Bernie Sanders was cheated in the DNC primary. They don't even have a functioning primary. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, overturned the Colorado Supreme Court, saying, no, you can't ban Trump. I mean, if you're watching politics and you think this is all about getting Trump and it's like a moral and just thing, it's the most unethical, most immoral thing. You can dislike Trump all you like, but it is unconstitutional, un-American, immoral, unethical to just devote all of this time and energy to trying to jail Trump when your political side actually did commit crimes, and he didn't.
Not to do it. Michael Cohen, who is also expected to be on the stand, is skeptical the president will take the stand. Here's what he said last night.
The likelihood of Donald Trump being something
frustrated with
how the trial progresses. I would say that I think if he does take the stand, President Trump will be a compelling witness. He did nothing wrong here. The truth is absolutely on his side. So that's a decision that's going to have to be made down the road. But one way or the other, I have full confidence in both.
He obviously shouldn't take the stand because they'll ask him, did you have a romantic relationship with Stormy? And he'll have to say yes. He very likely did. So, if he takes the stand and he says yes, and then he says, well, I didn't tell Michael Cohen to do anything, but he did it on his own accord, they just want to prove that Trump, and they're still the deniers, their denial of 2016 is hilarious, as they say, oh, denial. It's not, he didn't break any laws. Even if he did have the romantic relationship for one night and paid and wanted Cohen to pay the money. He didn't break any laws. Again, the federal government already looked at this and they fined his opponents, not him. But there's no federal crime here. That's the point. There's no federal crime. But he shouldn't take the stand because he's publicly stated he never had the affair with Stormy.
President Trump and the team that he has around him.
How worried are you about Michael Cohen? Because he says people are going to be surprised by some of what they're going to hear. He says he's not the linchpin to this whole thing. In fact, Lania Davis, who's been a legal advisor to him, says this: the case against Trump involves multiple witnesses besides Cohen to corroborate the crime of paying illegal hush money under New York law, as well as under federal law, backed up by multiple witnesses.
It wouldn't be federal law. The FEC already looked at it. Biden's DOJ already looked at it. The federal government never stated that Trump committed a federal crime. So how could it be under federal law? Okay. The former DA in New York or Manhattan didn't go after this case. The only reason they're going after the case is because November is a couple months away, and they want to swing the electorate towards their side. It's going to have the opposite effect. Everyone knows this is an attempt at going after Trump. That's all it is. It's only going to help Trump. It's not going to. He gets convicted. His poll numbers go up, and he doesn't get convicted. His poll numbers go up. Either way, his poll numbers go up.
Documents, text messages, telephone call records, and documents. You guys clearly.
And if you watch this you watch the live stream earlier, go back during the upload, you'll see Congressman Greg Steube asks Michael Cohen directly with those lawyers behind him, do you have any evidence Trump directed you to do anything? No, I don't, except the payments. Like, what? What kind of bizarre circular logic? The only evidence I have is that Trump paid me the money. Other than that, I don't have any, recording, he states, which contradicts what happened today. Nothing. No email, no text messages, no nothing. It could have been payment for anything. Okay, was it likely payment for Stormy? Yeah, it probably was. We don't know for sure. It probably was, but you can't prove that. That's the point.
They're going to go after Cohen, but he says it's not just me. There are all kinds of other things that will back up my story.
Well, look, and I'm somewhat limited in what I can say here because of the wildly unconstitutional gag order entered against President Trump by Judge Merchan in this case, which just goes to show how outrageous this whole process has been. With respect to Michael Cohen, as we've said consistently in pleadings, this is a man who numerous courts have found.
It's interesting when Trump speaks, they say, oh, he's putting people at risk. And it's like, well, how many publications every single day with a liberal or left-leaning bent or bias or viewpoint rail and denigrate and disparage Trump every second of the day? When Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, and when they insult Trump every night, you don't think you're putting Trump's family, God forbid, at risk? I love when the Democrats say, oh, Trump, he needs to stop speaking. He's putting people at risk. What about him and his family? Or, I don't know, supporters of Trump. Go wear a Make America Great Again hat in Portland or Seattle or parts of New York, or parts of Southern California. Okay? You wear a Biden hat in the most red state, nobody's going to care. People will feel sorry for you. You wear what I don't even know what the slogan is. Biden's, eat ice cream together. I don't even know what the slogan is. Okay, no one will care. There have been numerous examples of people trying to pull hats. You can see videos of people trying to pull hats from other people. It's the Democrats in this respect are completely, let's say, taking a hat from somebody is completely unhinged. But again, it's like they can be the gatekeepers of civility, the vanguards of civility and of decency, as they take signs from people's lawns and scratch cars up and for bumper stickers, Trump bumper stickers, or try to take hats off of people. I mean, it's like you don't see that with conservatives. They don't do that. And then, of course, the narrative and media is, Trump is extreme.
found guilty of perjury in the past. And I think ultimately the jury is going to have to weigh the credibility of the various witnesses. But I truly believe that truth is on President Trump's side, and there's nothing that any of these witnesses or anything the New York DA can do to change that basic fact.
Would the legal team consider this idea that's being floated out there of when you get to the jury, before they get to deliberations, asking for lesser included offense, meaning giving them an opportunity to say, we will convict on misdemeanors instead of these felonies? Or do you guys want to go for broke as felonies or nothing?
Well, one of the craziest things about this case, and you teased this a little bit in your intro, is the fact that what we're dealing with here are misdemeanor offenses that through this weird legal alchemical process, Alvin Bragg has attempted to convert into felony offenses. If these were merely misdemeanors, there's no question the statute of limitations would not allow this case to have been brought in the first place. So that's a real legal problem with the case itself, and I expect that that will play out in court in the coming weeks.
Okay, and we're out of time, but I know that you are part of the Supreme Court decision or case that's going to be argued on the immunity issue too. We'll have you back to talk about that.
That's a huge victory just in a couple of weeks on immunity. Okay? That'll be a huge, huge victory on immunity. So, look, ladies and gentlemen, every single day is a countdown to November. Every single day is a countdown to November. This is President Trump a couple hours ago. By the way, his New Jersey speech was unbelievable. You'll hear two New York Giant greats go to bat for Trump. Actually, let's hear that now. This is absolutely beautiful. Love Lawrence Taylor and Otis Anderson. Really amazing. Watch this.
Tonight and today by two incredible football legends, New York Giants, Super Bowl heroes. I guess I would have to say Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defensive player ever. I'm a little prejudiced, but I would say that. And a man who was possessed during Super Bowl, he was a Super Bowl MVP, Otis O.J. Anderson in the here. Come on up, fellas, for a second. Come on up. Come on up. These guys, look at them. Lawrence, you look like you could play immediately. They could use you. Come on up. These guys are serious players. You know, they're my golfing partners, too. Tell them, can Trump play golf? You have to tell them.
I just want to say, I grew up a Democrat, and I've always been a Democrat until I met this man right here. I'll tell you what. He will not have to worry about nobody in my family ever vote for a Democrat again. Okay.
Don't you just love that guy? Don't you just love that guy? I tell you, it has been a very exciting day. You guys, not one person left here. You're still here yelling and screaming. So my word is, Wildwood, are you in the house? I can't hear you. Wildwood, are you in the house? Thank you guys for all your support. And how about the great shout out for Metro Exhibit, baby? We made it all happen. All because of you. Thank you.
Great guys, two great guys. Look at OJ. How would you like to have to tackle this guy?
So you have O.J. Anderson and Lawrence Taylor voting for Trump, and it's like surreal. You have LT and another Giants legend voting for Trump, you have like a lot of people voting for Trump. And like Lawrence Taylor said, I myself was a lifelong Democrat. Okay, up until 5-6 years ago. I said he's a good president. You know, when they say put country over party, well, I did that. They haven't. Democrats haven't. It's like the Democratic Party is like it's almost like a cult. You have to get out of it to see real life, reality, to breathe, to kind of see things in a different way. Trump was a good president. It's a fact he was a good president. It's a fact that Biden is an unmitigated disaster in terms of foreign policy and economic policy. The difference is that media melted down. So all the wonderful, morally superior liberals who didn't like Trump thought that the sky was falling. Okay, they cared more about the Helsinki conference with Putin than they did about what's going on throughout the world under Biden and throughout the country under Biden. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel. I think it's pretty awesome to see. I think it's pretty awesome what's going on. Every day is a countdown. Trump will win. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, let me tell you. And God willing, it's going to take place. Whether he gets convicted, like I said, if he gets convicted, his poll numbers go up. If there's a mistrial in any way, his poll numbers go up. It really doesn't matter what Democrats try to do. There's nothing stopping them. If you look at the economy and foreign policy, that's how you judge a president. Biden's economy, Biden's foreign policy, especially foreign policy, has been an unmitigated disaster. Paul Bartlett! Thank you so much, Paul. So greatly appreciated. My goodness. In Australia, thank you so much. To my viewers around the world, thank you. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Thank you so very much, Paul. So greatly appreciated. And to my super chat, thank you.